Welcome, Maths Legends. This spooky topic today is patterns and general rules. We're going to be looking at seeing if we can work out how to do a pattern and how to work out a general rule to find terms that are quite large. Now, gents, when we start looking at these patterns, there's lots of different ways that we can try and find the pattern. We could construct the shape again, we could find the pattern from one number to the other, or we can find a rule. So what we're going to have a look at first, we're going to have a look at the pattern that has been drawn or the pattern that's been constructed. And you can see that every time that we move on to the next term, the second one, so this one here is term 1, this one here is term 2, term 3, and so on. You can see that it adds 1 to the top, 1 to the side, and 1 to the back. And that's how it continues on all the way through. Now, looking at the bottom in our table, we have our term, which tells us which shape we've got. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the number of cubes used to make that shape. So the first thing we're going to try and do is find a pattern. Now, patterns normally move around the bottom here, and it normally goes from left to right. So you can sort of see it goes 1, 4, 7, 10, 13. So the first thing that I can recognize there is if I do the little jump method here, you can see that there's definitely a pattern that's being created each time we go up. And you can see that's +3. So our pattern is +3. Now that's excellent to know, because if I had to fill in the rest of these up to the 10th term, that would be easy then, because I could just add 3 each time. 16, 19, 22, 25, and 28. The problem is, though, what happens if I ask you for the 50th term? Now, we've got a bit of an issue, because if I'm asking you for the 50th term, yes, we could draw ourselves a table that went all the way up to the 50th terms, and we could add 3 each time, or we could write down +3 50 times if we really wanted to. That's quite difficult. So what we need to do is we need to find a general rule. So we found the pattern, let's find the general rule. Now the general rule means that if I was to go the term and I was to do something to it, I could equal the amount of cubes, not cubes, that I'm going to be using. So I have to find out, what am I going to do? Now I look at the first one and I go, okay, what do I have to do here? 1 times 1, well, that doesn't work. If I go 2 times 2 makes 4, that doesn't work. If we go back to the first one, because if I go to the next one, 3 times 2 is 6, well, that doesn't work. Oh, what am I going to do then? So let's have a try here of, let's see if we can multiply it by 3. If I multiply it by 3, 1 times 3 makes 3, but I'm too big. Let's take 2, that makes 1. So let's try on the next one. 2 times 3 equals 6, take away 2 equals 4. Oh, that's working. 3 times 3 is 9, take away 2, well, that's 7. 4 times 3 is 12, take away 2 is 10. I think I've got it. So I'm going to say term times by 3, take away 2. So my rule, and I'm going to write down the bottom here again because that's not very neat, is put whatever your term is, times it by 3, and then take away 2. And that will give you the amount of cubes. Let's see if that works. 50 times 3 is 150. Take away 2 equals 148. Now if we were to count up, we would get that correct answer and we would be right. So let's look at the next one. Once again, 3 things I can do. I can draw the pattern out all the way. It takes a tedious and long time. I can work out what the pattern is. Let's work out what the pattern is. I'm going to use blue pen this time. All right, so I'm looking at the first one. I count up how many matchsticks. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matchsticks. I look at the next one. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 matchsticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now you can kind of see that it keeps adding on how many? That's right, adds 6. Now I could do that all the way up, get myself all the way up to the 10th term. Problem is, again, what happens if I ask you for the 50th term? We can't really work that out. So let's have a look at what we can do then. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the higher numbers. I know that it's going up in funny amounts, so it has to be a multiply. So I'm going to look at those and I'm going to say, right, what can I multiply 7 by to get close to 44? Well, I could go 7 times 7 equals 49, take 5. Let's try it out. 8 times 7 is 56, take 5, 51. Well, that doesn't work. Let's try something else then. Let's go multiply by 6. 7 times 6 is 42, then add 2. Let's try the next one. 8 times 6 is 48, add 2. Well, that works. 9 times 6 is 54, add 2. Well, that works. 10 times 6 is 60, add 2. That works. So we know that our rule must be term times 6, add 2 equals the amount of matchsticks. Let's do it on the last one then. Add 50 in. So we would go 50 times 6, add 2 equals the amount of matchsticks. So 50 times 6 is 300 plus 2 more is 302. Let's write it into our table really quickly. Last one's here for you to work out now, gents. I want you to stop the video now. I want you to go through the process. Once again, use the higher numbers, work out if it's multiplying, work out the pattern, what's the general rule that's happening as we're moving from one to the other, and then work out my 50th term for me. Okay, let's have a look and see how you went. So let's have a look. We've got 1 here. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubes. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cubes. You can probably see what's happening. We're adding 1 on to the end of each side each time. So we're adding 4. That's our pattern, add 4. Let's write them all out real quick. Okay, once again though, I need to get to that term. Let's try it again. Let's go into that multiplying. Let's see how close we can get to where we need to. So let's go. We'll start off with multiplying it by 4 because we're going to go really high. So 10 times 4 is 40. What do we have to do? Take away 3. Let's go down. 9 times 4 is 36. Take away 3. Well, that works. So term times 4, take away 3 equals our amount of cubes. So if we go to our last one, 50 times 4, take away 3 equals the cubes. So we know 50 times 4 is 200, take away 3 is 197. Gents, remember about what a general rule is, remember what a pattern is, how you work out both of those. So one is a multiplication and you may have to add or subtract numbers. The second one is moving from left to right and looking for how many you jump by each time. Come to class with your success criteria written in your diary, please, and any other questions that you may have.